Did we all miss the secret message Britney Spears was trying to tell us? We need to talk about this. Okay, so last night I did a deep dive on Britney's Instagram account trying to see if we missed any messages, and you guys. Okay, so I came across this video from last May, and it's basically just Britney kind of waving around this hat for a minute. So the video gave me really weird vibes, like why was she just holding around her hat? And then I realized that she might be pointing to something. Like look what's on the hat, it looks like something's written there. And so I zoomed it in, edited it so I could read it, and I think it spells help. Now, I added these letters so you could see how I'm thinking, but I think this is an H, this is an E, an L, and this is probably a P. And in one of her next posts in that same outfit, she emphasizes a hat in the caption, leading me to believe that she was trying to get help. Now, the post right before that is with Britney and her boyfriend working out. And I think I caught something else with this one that they forgot to edit out. If you slow down this clip, you can see him saying smile, right there. And look how Britney's face changes. She's being controlled. Here's him saying smile up close if you didn't see. And that is today's conspiracy. Did we all miss this? If you're 16 and under, you need to watch this video because TikTok is about to massively change for you. We need to talk about this. Okay, so TikTok just released what their next privacy policy is going to include, and let me just show y'all. So by far, the biggest change is that if you're 16 and under, your account will automatically and have to stay private. The other thing is that if you're 16 or under, you won't be able to use the duet or stitch feature, and you won't be able to message people through this app. Now, obviously, TikTok is doing this for the safety of younger kids, which I think is important, but no one really knows why they're choosing now to do it. But I think it's all because of Mr. Tony Lopez. If you didn't know, Tony Lopez is finally getting sued for sexually assaulting underage girls. Now, this is very recent and has been in the news, and many think that he found these underage girls through their profiles on TikTok. And thus, TikTok is adjusting their privacy policy so things like this don't happen. And honestly, I think it's kind of a good thing. Let me know what y'all think, especially if you're in that age group, and that is today's conspiracy. If you're 16 and under, this Simpsons prediction is supposed to happen in a couple of days, and it's terrifying. We need to talk about this. Okay, now before we get to the scary things that The Simpsons predicted for the end of January, let's talk about how The Simpsons might have predicted the Capitol storming. So in 1996, they posted an episode called The Day the Violence Died, and it was literally about people rioting and storming the Capitol. And the scariest part was the person leading it in The Simpsons was wearing a Viking helmet and face paint almost identical to one of the leaders in the actual Capitol storming. So because they predicted the Capitol riots, people are scared that their next predictions might come true. In that same episode that predicted the Capitol riots, they flashed forward a few days to January 20th of 2021 and showed the world being destroyed. They don't really stay on this scene a lot, but it shows that a full-on battle occurred and there was a lot of damage. Now, if you somehow didn't know, January 20th is Inauguration Day where Joe Biden will officially become president. People, including myself, are scared that Trump supporters might plan another attack because this phrase, "our last chance," is going around Trump supporters for January 20th. Please don't worry though, because security is going to be at an all-time high and everything should be really safe. Did we switch to a different dimension in 2021? We need to talk about this. Okay, so everyone's been talking about how last year, 2020, felt really off to a lot of people, not just because of COVID, but just because of time and everything. So the theory goes that in 2020, we were all put into an alternate dimension, which is why things felt off. And once it became 2021, we were all transported back to our original dimension. It sounds crazy, I know, but please just listen to this evidence. Okay, number one, let's talk about the New Year's Eve ball drop. So if you're watching the ball drop this year, you might have noticed that the ball dropped at exactly 12:01 this year, not midnight. This is the first time ever that the ball drop has been off. People think it's because we were transporting from one dimension to the other and it messed up the time. Speaking of time, technology still thinks that we're in 2020 for some reason. And people are finding that old Mandela effects are going back to normal. For example, there used to be a huge Mandela effect that everyone thought Fruit Loops spelled fruit with 2 O's, but it was actually spelled as fruit. But now all of a sudden it's back how we remembered it with 2 O's. But y'all, I literally used to be obsessed with Mandela effects and I wrote them down in 2017 and it says Fruit Loops was actually Fruit Loops. Did we switch? This is what the Capitol looked like at a peaceful Black Lives Matter protest on June 3rd. And this is how it looked today. Now, they knew that there would be a, quote, big protest rally today, but they didn't even send as much as a fraction as the amount of officers that they send during the Black Lives Matter protest to the Capitol. And in this video, when a bunch of the rioters found an entrance to get inside of the Capitol, there was one black police officer guarding the door. One. And all he had to defend himself was a baton stick. One. Facing an aggressive large crowd. And in this video outside of the Capitol, you can see the very few officers that were on the scene not doing anything and letting the riot just come and storm the Capitol. The white aggressive rioters who stormed the Capitol were seen as less of a threat than the peaceful Black Lives Matter protest just a few months ago. If this doesn't show you what white privilege is, I literally don't know what will, because this is so outrageous. This Donald Trump might be a time traveler. We need to talk about this. Now, before you scroll, please just listen because this theory is crazy. Okay, so first we need to talk about this book, Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, published in 1893. Now, people think that this book is based on Donald Trump's son because there are very weird similarities. So in the book, Baron is guided by someone named Don, aka Donald, and Don tells Baron that he knows how to time travel and they travel to the present day. So that book is pretty crazy, but that same author wrote this book, The Last President, a few years later, and this one is literally insane. So this book follows Don as he becomes president. Now in this real book, when Don becomes president, there's tons of outrage and the world becomes so politically divided, much like Donald Trump's presidency. And guess what? Once this Don becomes president, he chooses someone named Leif Pence to be his vice president. Okay, now let's flash forward to actual history. This is Nikola Tesla. So if you didn't know, he spent his life trying to make a machine for time travel, and he claims that he actually did. Now when he died, the government looked over his papers and deemed it as not real. But Donald Trump's uncle was one of those people who looked over those documents that later went missing. This JoJo Siwa game is disturbing. We need to talk about this. Now, before I begin, I just want to say that I do not think that JoJo Siwa should be canceled over this. She probably didn't even know about this game, but her name and face is associated with it, so she should address it. Okay, so the game is called JoJo's Juice, and it was made in 2018, and it's still being produced today, and is targeted towards kids. I mean, it literally says on the box, ages 6 and up. It's basically Never Have I Ever, but JoJo Siwa edition, but some of the questions on it are very disturbing for kids. For example, have you ever learned the art of twerking? Have you ever been arrested? Have you ever taken money out of someone's purse or wallet without asking? Now, these next two are what made me really upset and are very, very inappropriate for kids who are only 6. Have you ever gone outside without underwear? A bathing suit doesn't count. Have you ever walked in on someone naked or had someone walk in on you? This is not some sort of conspiracy. This is a real game that kids have been playing, and it's honestly just gross. This game needs to be removed ASAP because this just is not okay. This JoJo's... Y'all know that I'm good at finding new Mandela effects that no one's heard of before, and these ones are crazy. We need to talk about this. Okay, first let's talk about the octopus. Now think or say what you think the plural of an octopus is. If you said octopi, you've been fooled by the Mandela effect because it's always been octopuses? What? Now let's talk about a classic, the cosmic brownie. So you know you get the brownie bar and there's a line in the middle and you can snap it and get 2, right? Well, that line has never existed. It's just a straight bar of brownie. What? Okay, third, we're gonna be talking about the best Disney show, That's So Raven. So y'all know at the end where she goes, yup, that's me, and then booty taps like the words, right? Well, nope, she never bumps it with her hip, she just taps the words. What? No. Okay, and I saved the best for last because this one really messed me up. So y'all know Ariana Grande's iconic Thank You Next music video, right? Well, in the scene that she's driving her car is pink, right? Nope, it's always been black. Like, what? That's today's conspiracy. Y'all know, here's more proof on why Michael Jackson might still be alive. We need to talk about this. Okay, so quick recap. Michael Jackson died in 2009 of cardiac arrest, and many think that he faked his own death. Okay, first let's talk about the paramedics who arrived at the scene. So when Michael Jackson had a heart attack, obviously the ambulance came, but the paramedics did not recognize the body as Michael Jackson. In fact, they said that the body resembled an old man. Now, many think that the body is actually Dimitri D, a 47-year-old man who died of a terminal illness that same day. Somebody even confessed this in an email. Okay, next let's talk about the trial of Michael Jackson. So Michael Jackson, being the celebrity that he is, had a trial after his death to make sure that it wasn't a murder. That's something that is fascinating to me that no one talks about is that his lawyers fought to get his autopsy excluded from the trial. If you didn't know, an autopsy is an examination of the dead body that proves how someone died. So if no one saw the autopsy, how do we know that one exists? And how do we know that a body exists? Okay, and thirdly, let's talk about his daughter. So back in 2016, his daughter posted this photo, and people increased the brightness and sharpness in the back and saw this. What? Here's more proof on why. Did Michael Jackson fake his own death? We need to talk about this. Okay, so on June 25th of 2009, Michael Jackson suddenly died of cardiac arrest. But his whole death was very suspicious, and here's why. First, we're gonna talk about the ambulance. So as we know, Jackson was put into an ambulance, driven to the hospital, and presumably died that night. Now, someone followed the ambulance after dropping Michael off without the driver knowing and caught this. Yeah, the ambulance went into a weird alley, covered up someone from the back, and brought them into a disclosed location. And it's been confirmed that the ambulance from that video is the same one that Michael Jackson was in. Okay, now let's talk about the funeral. The first weird sign was that his funeral was a closed casket funeral. Now, as I mentioned before, he died of cardiac arrest, which means that there was nothing physically wrong with his body, so why would he have a closed casket funeral? And people even think that a disguised Michael Jackson attended his own funeral. Fans think that this person right here is actually Jackson. Here's a closer image with the nose a little changed and they look identical. Let me know if y'all want part 2, and that's the conspiracy. Princess Diana might have been murdered? We need to talk about this. Now, before we begin this theory, I just want to say I'm accusing no one of murder, and I'm just stating a popular theory. Okay, so in 1997, Princess Diana unfortunately died in a tragic car accident. Now, it was deemed an accident, but many think that it was a planned murder, and here's why. First, I'm going to bring up this letter that Princess Diana wrote 10 months before the accident. Now, in it, she writes, quote, "My husband is planning an accident in my car, brake failure and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for him to marry." Now, many believe she's referring to her husband, Prince Charles, wanting to marry Camilla. Now, Diana had obviously divorced Charles after catching him cheating, but royal law stated that he couldn't remarry until Diana was dead. Now, I'm going to talk about James Anderson. Now, James was the one who hit Diana's car, thus causing the accident. He fled the country but was later found by a private investigator. He faced charges but was never actually arrested. Now, during the 2010s, he did an interview where he confessed that he was the one who hit the car, but he also confessed that he was paid to do so. And a few days later, he was found dead in his car. Personally, I don't think that Charles did it, but what do you think? Princess Poppy might have predicted the coronavirus. We need to talk about this. Okay, so if you don't know who Poppy is, she's a musician and YouTuber who posts very strange videos. Now, many think that she's controlled by the government and she's putting subliminal messages into our head. And recently, people have realized that she might have warned us about COVID. Just watch these videos.
I don't know when, but the scary mask is coming. It told me so. And this is how to apply your mask. Place the elastic bands around your ears like so.
Now, she also had a song come out on January 10th of this year called "Don't Go Outside," and just read some of these lyrics. "Now is not the time to go outside, crawl back into bed and close your eyes. Now is not the time to go outside, lock the door and find a place to hide." Now, this was months before the lockdown and pandemic, so many people think she was trying to warn us. And people think that the next thing she's trying to warn us of is Wednesday, January 20th, aka Inauguration Day, because of this recent video.
Is it Wednesday yet? Is it Wednesday yet?
And that is today's conspiracy. Poppy, y'all, Instagram literally just got caught red-handed watching its users through their cameras. We need to talk about this. So basically, Facebook, who owns Instagram, is currently getting sued for hundreds of millions of dollars because they just got exposed. Basically, someone found that Instagram records you when you're on the app, but also when you leave the app. So basically, if you have Instagram downloaded on your phone, they have access to your camera. Now, I'm sure you probably don't know this because Instagram doesn't want us to know. They just want to pay off their lawsuit and move on. And this is not the first time they've done something like this. Because I bet you didn't know that in August, they paid $650 million in a lawsuit because they were caught tracking people's faces and putting everyone's facial recognitions into a database. The fact that the news is trying to hide this from us is very sketchy, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm like kind of scared. Let me know what y'all think, and as always, that's today's conspiracy. Y'all, when I tell y'all I'm going damn crazy over this challenge, okay. I want you to know that I'm never leaving, cause I'll miss the snow till death will be freezing. Yeah, you are my home for all seasons. So come on, let's go below zero and hide from the sun. I love you forever, well, we'll have some fun. Yes, let's hit the North Pole and live happily. Please don't cry no tears. Baby. When I tell y'all this is an Amazon hack that they don't want you to know, we need to talk about this. Okay, so something that Amazon does that not a lot of people know about is that they make discount codes for certain products but don't advertise them. They do this so people who mass buy a certain product can get a discount since they're buying so many. Now, y'all know I have the tea, and I found out how to get those discount codes that they aren't telling people. It's this app called Deal For It, and its whole purpose is to find all of the discounts that Amazon is hiding for us, but they give it to us. Like these LED lights right here are $13.29. Once you get the code, all you have to do is put it in, and look at that, that's half off. Don't tell Amazon I put you on, but that is today's tea. This is an Amazon